controls the language controls the narrative. Every language carries in it the essence of its cultural origins. Sanskrit, the language of our ancient texts, is a beautiful, well developed, versatile language that holds the ethos of Bharat in its flow. It is capable of expressing the Bharatiya philosophy in ways that foreign languages cannot. When our texts are translated into foreign languages, a lot of the cultural connotations to the ideas are lost, and one is forced to accept ill-fitting substitutes. That is why the phrase lost in translation. This is a series of such commonly mistranslated words, their limitations, and the actual harm they cause in our narratives. Tapasya is often replaced by the word penance when people translate our ancient texts. Is it okay to use them interchangeably? Is penance the right translation for tapasya? To understand this, let us see what penance means. Penance is a punishment inflicted on oneself as an outward expression of repentance for wrongdoing. This means that a wrongdoing has already happened and you are inflicting a punishment on yourself because of that wrongdoing. Does that sound like tapasya to you? No. That is not tapasya. Tapasya is a Sanskrit word. It is a practical spiritual discipline that involves deep meditation, austerity, moderation, self-discipline, effort to reach self-realization. The way it is used is, suppose you want to achieve something very difficult. You put in a lot of effort, a lot of self-control with the aim of achieving that very difficult goal. That is tapasya. Like a very overweight person practices strict control in order to get back to ideal weight. A person who is poor works very hard with a goal of improving his financial health. That could be termed as tapasya. Someone wants to be a great archer. He devotes himself to the practice of archery. That can be tapasya. Another person wants self-realization and meditates for long periods to achieve that goal. That can be tapasya. None of these involve any wrongdoing and therefore they cannot be termed as penance. Unfortunately, in many translated texts, tapasya has been replaced by the word penance. I was thinking, how could that have happened? One of the possibilities is that most of these translations happened when we had foreign rulers. English was introduced when the British came and translations of our ancient texts was made into English. It is quite possible that the people who translated the works were not familiar with the English language and hence required frequent references to the dictionary. Could it have been that this was a very tedious process, especially for concepts for which there was no parallel in that language? Tapasya is a choice. Someone who wants to achieve something chooses to put himself or herself through that much effort. In that context, it could be termed as self-inflicted. And since they could not find any word that explained tapasya, they chose the nearest possible one. Penance is self-inflicted. Tapasya is a choice, so use it instead of tapasya. But this has caused a lot of harm. It is now getting perpetuated because these translations have entered into multi-language dictionaries. Imagine somebody who does not know any Indian language. If he were to want to learn about what is written in Vedas or Upanishads or Mahabharata or Ramayana, the easiest thing for them to do would be to go in for the English translation. There they would read the word penance for every reference of tapasya. And what would be the first thought that would be in their mind? It would be that the person who was doing the tapasya had done some wrongdoing in the past and therefore he was doing all that effort. Whereas tapasya is a positive action. Connotation of penance is negative because there was a wrongdoing in the past. And instead of imbibing the positive, the initial impression would be that that person has committed a sin and therefore he is doing penance. It's not as if only foreigners would be learning through the English translation. These days, so many of our own people, Bharatiya citizens, do not know Sanskrit. Sometimes they do not even know how to read the local languages. And they gravitate towards the English translations to get some knowledge about our texts. Even they become victim of this mistranslation. So what is the solution? We cannot change what has already entered into dictionaries unless, as a society, as the stakeholders of Hinduism, we start and we insist on using the original words. The well-developed philosophies of ancient Bharat do not have any parallel in any other language. Many a times you need phrases or complete paragraphs to explain what they mean. It is much better not to pander to the lowest denominator and instead use tapasya wherever it needs to be used and never ever use the word penance. Let the tapasya of our ancestors not become a penance in the modern world. Thank you.